Well, thank you, Caesar, for doing this with us, and we're really proud to be invited to come to the National Hellenic Museum. It's been a place that Elaine and I have been wanting to come to for a long time, since we first heard about it being constructed. We're here to talk about a very exciting project that we have been involved in for at least 7 years. It culminated in a new book that was just recently released called the OPA Way. The subtitle is Finding Joy and Meaning in Everyday Life and Work. The book is really importantly, and this is a very important thing for us to say, it's the first Greek-inspired self-help book that's out there. So for us, it's very exciting that we've done this, particularly because of all the years that Greece has gone through so much challenge with the economic crisis and so forth. One of the reasons it's taken us as long as it has to get the book published is that we ended up having to overcome a number of Herculean challenges. We had to, as we will say later in our talk, go through an odyssey, much like Odysseus did in Homer's epic poem, because many people did not think that Greeks would be worthy as role models for others, since they were responsible for the global economic crisis. Well, of course, Elaine and I didn't believe that to be the case, so we decided to stay true to our roots, and we continued to interview people throughout Greece. We continued to examine how Greeks were very resilient to all of the challenges that they were facing. And because of our backgrounds, which we will talk about a little bit later, we ultimately were able to find the right publisher to believe in the book and get it out there. So it's now been released as of November 18th in hardcover, in audiobook. It's also available as a digital ebook. So we're very happy, we're very proud, we're very honored to be able to share something that's a positive thing about Greek culture, Greek history, Greek mythology, Greek philosophy, and get away from all the negativity that the mass media has spent so much time focusing on over these particularly the last 4 or 5 years.
And just to build on what Alex says, in psychology there's a famous research that says for every negative comment you have to offset it with a positive comment. But for every negative, you'll need 8 or 9 positive comments to offset it. And so we realized over the last few years there was so much negative press for Greece, but not those 8 or 9 positive comments. So we really feel strongly that the OPA Way positions Greece in a more positive way, not just for Greeks so that they can be proud themselves, but especially for non-Greeks to learn more about the great things that Greece has to offer. Well, definitely food is an integral part because it's around food that we connect with other people. But what's really important is that the root word for diet came from the Greek word dieta, which actually doesn't mean the type of food we eat. It actually means your total lifestyle. And so we talk about the OPA Way total lifestyle, which includes how much movement you have, how much rejuvenation and sleep you have, but importantly how you connect with other people, the purpose in your life, your attitudes and that sort of thing. So what's really important isn't actually are you eating this food or that food, it's really how are you living your total lifestyle that's important.
Which includes who you eat with. So a big part of the OPA Way is about how we connect with other people in authentic ways, not just in transactions. You know, like you go to a restaurant and somebody just says, you know, can I take your order? What do you want? Here's your bill. You know, in a traditional Greek restaurant, in that experience, it's almost an insult to leave a restaurant too quickly. They want you to stay there. They want you to converse. They want you to listen and connect with people and so forth. And so that's a very different thing. The other piece that I would like to say, and that Elaine and I have spent a lot of time looking at this total lifestyle, and part of it is because we believe strongly in not necessarily mind, body, spirit, but we actually talk about it spirit, mind, body, is that it's really about the human spirit, and so much of the lessons that are described in our book are really spiritual guidance. And I'm not talking about religious, you know, faith-based, because you can apply these. There's universal concepts, universal principles that can go to any religion, any faith. You could be agnostic, atheist, whatever. But it's the idea that there's a spiritual core to everything that's in this lifestyle. And because that's really what we're talking about. If people are healthy, if their state of well-being is very high, they're healthy not just physically, they're healthy emotionally, they're healthy spiritually. And you can see it. And I always like to describe this as almost like Tinkerbell in Peter Pan. That Tinkerbell is this incredible positive energy. And when you put Tinkerbell in a box, that light starts to go out. And so the idea is that many people are living their life in a way in which they're really not achieving their highest potential because they're not healthy in terms of spirit, mind, and body. So it's not enough, just as Elaine's saying, to eat well. You also have to live well. That's a very complicated but very important question. And I think one of the things Elaine and I, when we were walking through the museum, one of the things that we noticed is that museums are beautiful and they're great in terms of displaying artifacts of the past. But if we look at the root word of museum, again going back to the Greek, and if we look at what we're trying to do with this book, we really also want to be somewhat of a muse and help people move towards a more positive, meaningful future. So it's not just about reflecting on the past. So in a lot of respects, it's kind of like, if we think about film, it's kind of a back to the future approach to life. There are many things that the Greek culture offers in terms of simplicity, in terms of kind of getting rid of some of the clutter in our lives, which we have a lot of in North America, in Western society. We're so much cluttered, we're so much demand on our time that getting our time back in some respects is a very formidable challenge. So the OPA way offers guidance. Now, is everybody going to do it totally, completely on day one? No. It's kind of like, having a New Year's resolution saying, I'm going to lose weight, I'm going to work out. But can you take baby steps to doing that? And I think that the book offers enough practical guidance in terms of pathways, in terms of practices that anybody can do in order to create their own little Greek OPA way lifestyle and then build on that. But I think the key for us is, yes, if we have clients who really are saying, look, we're in such existential crisis, something's not working, we're actually literally dying in a lot of ways, because we see clients like that who, they're so depressed, they're so bored, they're so out of touch with who they really are that they come to us for guidance. Those kinds of folks we can work with in a larger way, but for everybody, they can at least take baby steps towards the OPA way lifestyle that Elaine was describing.
And if I could just add and build on what Alex has said, it's really important that we look at what are some of our issues in North America and in the U.S. And a lot of our issues are, a lot of people feel lonely. They're very busy, they're running around, they have a lot of activities, they might even work in a big company, but yet they don't feel they're connected to people. They feel that they move a lot, so they don't have really great friends, they're not connected to their family. So we look at those issues where people just don't feel that they belong. We look at issues where people don't know what their direction is and where they should be heading or where they feel that they should be dedicating their efforts and their talents. And then we look at all the stress that we have. So sometimes we have to say, yes, it's great to live in the U.S. with all this great, options that we have here, but at the same time, maybe the basics of life are missing. And so those are some of the lessons we learned while in Greece and traveling around the little villages, is that sometimes we have to go back to the basics of life and say, how are we connecting with other people? Do we really know ourselves, and how do we make our own decisions in our life if we don't really even know ourselves? And how do we deal with all this stress and that fast-paced life? And so sometimes it's good to just remind ourselves of starting with some really great lessons on the basics of life and then building from there.
And not everybody's going to get there. Not everybody knows themselves, thyself. We have a chapter, that goes back to the Oracle of Delphi. In one quick sweep, but at the same time we need to spend more time devoting it and focusing attention on, are we really living a life that matters? Does it really resonate with our soul? And if we don't have that, then there are manifestations, like I said, boredom, depression, anxiety, anger, all these things come out as a result. You can't stop it. So ultimately we're saying, read our book, get some guidance on how you can do it, how you can bring that little piece of the Greek culture, the Greek philosophy, the Greek mythology into your own life. I think that the one thing that I would like, and the responses we've been getting so far, and this is kind of my preface to my 10 seconds, is that people are reading the book and they're finding an incredible amount of value in terms of increasing their awareness of the possibilities for their own life, in terms of bringing more joy and meaning to their life. So I would say that if there's anything, I would like to see the book be somewhat like the antidote to some of the negative things and the dark side messages that people are always hearing in the media and the press every day, on TV, you know, the reality TV shows and everything else. And so I would hope that by reading the book, they would learn how and have some guidance to practice living a more authentic life that brings their more full potential to light.
Alex and I have been referred to as philosophers of meaning, and we're driving the meaning movement, and this book is really about finding deeper meaning in our life and work, and using a lot of the Greek philosophy, the Greek culture, and Greek mythology to do that. And so it's very unique in the marketplace and in the bookstores, because we're coming at the topic of meaning from the Greek culture point of view.
OPA!